Hello. It has been some time. Don't really want to get into why I've been gone for so long. Lots of life changes. Let's just say everything's good. But today we're going to start a video completely different than normal bass fishing. Little backstory, I used to fly fish a ton, and I've recently got more into fly fishing than bass fishing. I actually haven't caught a bass in probably 6-7 months maybe. I have a little boat, but so I don't really go out bass fishing anymore. I found myself wanting to do more of go back to fly fishing where I can go out by myself. You know, I'm not dealing with the hassle of launching a boat, getting the boat out there, finding a spot where I can launch a boat. So I've been doing a lot more fly fishing, and you know, being here in Washington State, I live kind of in the south end, Tacoma area, where there's a lot of beach fishing for what we call sea run cutthroat. So you guys might see a little bit more of that on this channel. If you guys like it, let me know. But today we're gonna start out. I haven't tied a fly in years. I had a vise, as you can see there's a vise in front of me, which I'll go over in a second, but I had a little cheap vise, but it broke, lost a bunch of parts. This was like a $10 vise I think I got when I was like 12 years old. Did me really well for a long time. I used to tie flies every single day for a number of years, but we'll see how we do today. So today we're gonna focus more on what it takes to tie a fly. It really doesn't take a whole lot, and again, this is, like I said, this is a vise, costs 10 bucks. You can buy used vices, whatever, just find something. I've even seen vices where guys make them out of, you know, like channel locks and things like that, which if you guys are interested, I'll do a DIY video for you on making your own vise for, you know, 5 bucks off of Harbor Freight. The rest of this video, though, like I said, we'll be going over what I have, the type of fly I'm tying, and this is specific to sea run cutthroat, but this type of fly, it's a popper. I suppose you could use it for bass fishing as well. It's a super simple fly to tie. I've never tied it, but I haven't looked up how to tie it. I'm one of those people, I can dissect something and figure out how to tie it. So we'll give it a go today, see how that goes. But we'll kind of get right into it. So the vise I just picked up, I just went to my local fly shop, which I didn't realize was like 5 minutes away from my house, which is really cool. I went in there and they have a bunch of brand new Renzetti fly tying vices, which are very expensive. Renzetti's kind of top of the line. So I was asking them, hey, do you have anything less than, you know, $400? And he showed me this vise here that was a used vise that they used for a number of years, I guess. Shows very little wear on it, a little scuffing here on the side. But I've never had a, they call these traveler vices. I've never had one with a base. So it'll be interesting to see how this is used. I've always wanted one. It's nice because it's a heavy, sturdy base. This thing probably weighs about 4 or 5 pounds. But this vise originally, I believe, was like $400 or $500, and I got it for a whopping, the light might be burnt out with, or washed out with the light, but $100. So we're out here today. It's the first rainy day in the last like 4 or 5 months here in Washington. So I figured might as well come tie a fly. I'll go over what I'm using real quick. So for the hooks, they've got these Umpqua U series. I've never seen these, but they are a hook, or they call them a kink shank. So they've got a little kink, and I'll show you here when we get close up on tying the fly, but you'll see, and it's meant for poppers, I guess. So basically when a fish eats it, it doesn't pull the popper back towards the you know, the bend of the hook. So that's kind of neat. They're stainless steel, of course, size 4. Kind of big for sea run cutthroat, but you know, the size of fly I'm throwing, I want to catch a bigger sea run, or even a coho, resident coho. You can always catch those. For the popper material, it's just a foam pad. This is just 2 millimeter thick. I think this pack came with 2 pieces in it. And then for the kind of the body of the fly, I like super simple. The number of years I've been fly fishing for sea run cutthroat, I feel the more complex the fly, the more they're kind of like, I don't know what that is, I don't want it. I feel the more simple it is, they kind of go after that. So I'm throwing some angel hair. This is just gold color, and then I also got some chartreuse. So we'll be tying kind of a couple different ones today, but this video I'll just show probably just one. I don't need to necessarily show you all the ones I'm tying today. I also got chartreuse foam pad as well, so I might try that. I've never seen one with chartreuse, or I've never used one, so I'm not sure if chartreuse foam and white foam makes a difference. I like the white because it's easier to see when you're casting, because you know they float. So but yeah, anyways, then I'm just gonna be using probably not black line here or thread. I'll probably use, I don't know, I do have some white, so I'll probably just be tying in some white, throwing a little sealant on here. This is just some UV Solaris, I don't know, it's a flex UV glue, just to make sure everything's tied in tight, since these teeth are, or the fish are a little toothy. Other than that, I think we'll get going. I'm gonna get set up and I'll get you guys a little closer so you can see. So again, I've never used this vise, so it might take me a second to figure it out, but we'll I think it's pretty self-explanatory. Put the shank in there, tighten this guy up, and lock her down. I've never had a rotary vise either, so this is gonna be kind of nice for, you know, certain type of flies. My only qualm with this is it is a straight shank vise, which might be annoying. I wonder, I'm sure there's a part or an adapter or something that I can change. Renzetti's very, you can change these vices up quite a bit. They have a bunch of parts, but of course it costs, you know, arm and a leg. So I'm gonna change out my bobbin here with some white thread, and we'll kind of get going. Got my thread on here. This is just 70 denier, pretty thin actually, which could be a problem. So what I'm gonna do first, I'm gonna first tie, just get the thread started. I'm gonna start right at the back of the shank here. So I'm just gonna start low wrap, back wrap it a couple times, and then grab my scissors, cut this off, back wrap a couple more, get back to the front of the shank. And then I think what I want to do is I want to put in some of this angel hair. All right, kind of pull all the loose ends out, and we can trim this up later. But the way I'm going to tie this, because I want some to be in the front of the body, so I'm going to kind of go to where this, basically the front of this is, the majority of it is right before the eye. So I have about that much sticking out. I'm gonna tie this guy in, loose wrap once, twice, and then pull so it stays on top. Wrap a couple more times, wrap backwards, wrap forwards. So now it's on there. Now off camera, I cut a strip, I don't know how wide that is, I would say maybe a 1/4 inch wide. And this is just, I just cut off that foam pad. But what I'm gonna do here, so I'm going to tie this backwards. So I'm going to stick it basically a little bit in front of that body, loose wrap, kind of bend it around the body if I can. Wrap it a couple times, loose, and then pull. Oh, and of course that's why I don't like using this thin of denier. I don't think it really matters if the angel hair kind of goes on the backside there at all, or underneath this stuff. I really don't think it does. So I'll snip off this excess thread here. It doesn't really matter because I'm going to glue this in anyways, so it's not super crucial that this is all perfect looking. Oh, that's why it broke last time I hit the shank. Okay. Now, what I'm thinking is I'm gonna go like this and tie it in up there. So I'm gonna wrap this body, try and make sure it's centered over that guy. Wrap up, kind of loose wraps. And I want to get to the front of that kink. Do a couple wraps here. Now, I've seen some people do loops kind of like this for the popper. I kind of prefer it a little bit flatter, but we're basically going to do the same thing. So a couple loose wraps, then we pull tight and wrap it tight. Now you'll notice I'm not all the way to the eye, and that's kind of important, I think. So we'll just kind of do a couple loose tight wraps here. Kind of go forward a little bit if we can, maybe even backwards, actually, because this foam is going to want to, I think you eventually could potentially cut it. Let's kind of do it. Just basically you want to get this thing nice and tightly wrapped. Now, what we want to do is, obviously we don't want, 3 inches of material there. So I'm gonna cut this at what seems like a good popper deal. Right about there. Just a little bit in front of the eye, I'm thinking. Most of the ones I've used before, I think they're right at the eye. So kind of find the eye. So maybe I'll trim that back just a little bit. Basically, this part is just the scoop that makes the pop. So now I'm gonna tie this up, bring this up, and then tie kind of a head. Again, with this small denier, it's going to take a bit of wraps to build a head. Oops. But we want to basically create a head so that's constantly always in the up position. There we go. That's more like it. Now we'll take my whip finisher. I haven't done this in a number of years. Two, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm gonna do it a couple more times, especially with this thin line. You could do overhand knots if you wanted to, but I really like the whip finishers. I think they get it on there nice and tight. And that line already broke, so that's kind of perfect. So now I'll come in here, trim that off, and we're gonna be gluing that here. But essentially, and I'll glue it on the off camera here, but essentially, now I kind of want to trim this. I don't want it too long, so maybe about there. But essentially, there is our popper. Apparently my GoPro got too hot, but here's what she looks like. I just added some glue to the head. It's kind of hard to tell with my GoPro. I wish I had my other camera. It's just inside, but forgot to grab it. But there you go. That's essentially saltwater popper for Sea Run Cutthroat. Alrighty, well, that was it. Quick little video, a lot of talking. I'm gonna tie up probably another 5 or so of these. Maybe the next video I'll go out fishing. Maybe I'll go fishing today. So, alright guys, well, take care. If you're new, subscribe, like, share, all that fun stuff. I want to start posting more fishing videos. Also, if you're interested, I kind of want to start another channel with like handyman stuff. I own a side business now as a handyman, essentially doing stuff like that. So obviously I'm in my new house's garage. Got a lot of stuff in here, so if you guys are interested in a shop tour, I can show you all that fun stuff. I've got a lot of cool little toys. But yeah, anyways, we'll see you guys next time. Thank you so much.